Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Ramble, one of the few non-Homestuck related ones. My friend Vividly ASMR is working on a video where she talks about the best anime of the decade, because the decade's coming to an end, and I wanted to do something similar. I wanted to talk about the manga that I have read this year, because I'm more into reading manga than I am to watching anime. And yeah, that's it. I just wanted to talk about what I've read this year. Now, disclaimer, obviously I liked some more than others. And also, these are not all manga that came out this year. These are just manga that I personally read this year. And I'm probably going to start doing this every year, unless I fall out of reading manga. Because manga is basically like the main entertainment source I have in terms of like reading stuff. I'm trying to get into reading more novels, and maybe I'll broaden the scope on this type of thing when I do it next year. But for now, we're just doing manga. So I'm going to go through them alphabetically to sort of get rid of any, or at least some of the bias. So yeah, starting off, Beast Children, which is a manga that came out this year. I believe it was only about 30 chapters. I suppose I could pull that up while I'm talking about it. So basically, Beast Children was a sports manga, similar to Haikyuu and the like. It was about rugby, which isn't really a sport that I would have expected a manga on. Nevertheless, 27 chapters. There we go. Nevertheless, I personally found it very entertaining. I thought that the characters were interesting enough that, I wanted to see them do well. I felt like there was enough there to keep it going for about 100 chapters. Now, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of sports manga. I am caught up on Haikyuu, and that's really good. But I feel like Haikyuu, in my opinion, is sort of the... it's not the standard, in that I don't think most sports manga can last more than like 100 chapters and still have, a lot of interesting stuff going for them. But Haikyuu's still fun. Anyway, back to Beast Children. Beast Children is really interesting. Partially in that the author has basically all of the characters that show up that are like quote unquote main characters. They all are like connected in some way. There was this one really popular rugby player who died. I believe it was from exhaustion or something similar. It was brought up at the beginning, and ever since then it's just sort of talked about sparsely. But yeah, it was really good. I liked the art, and it was kind of interesting to learn about rugby. Excuse me. But yeah. But I did say earlier, if you remember, that it was 27 chapters, only 27 chapters. Now, I definitely don't think that the author planned for it to end this early. It was canceled. It was pulled from the magazine Shonen Jump. If I remember right, I think all of these are actually Shonen Jump manga, because that's where I was getting all of my... Yes, all of these are Shonen Jump manga. until very recently, that's unless it was something I heard about from another person, that's where I basically went to get manga. Now I've decided to branch out. I'll explain more on that why later, but basically there's a lot of battle manga and a lot of manga that are basically the same thing in Shonen Jump, and now this is probably true of every manga magazine. They probably have like a ton of manga that are basically the same thing. But yeah, I just decided sticking with one single magazine is not the way to go for me, so I'm trying to branch out more. I'm not really reading magazines, I'm just trying to keep an eye out for like newer manga that come out in general. Anyway, but yeah, so back to Beast Children. I keep getting off track as I do in rambles, but hey, it's a ramble. So yeah, it did get pulled. It sort of just got rushed. Now, out of the manga that on my list that I'm talking about, that got canceled recently, because that was originally, this was just going to be an homage to those manga, because I had multiple manga that I was keeping up with that I thought had promise get canceled all basically at the same time, as it does happen. So yeah, this is an homage to all four of those. Well, it was originally going to be just that, and then I decided to go ahead and talk about every manga I've read this year, because I've been getting more into that this year. And I also read the big Shonen Jump 3 this year. And now I feel like I'm ready to graduate past Shonen Jump. But regardless, Beast Children was good. I'm sad to see it go. While I am not a huge fan of sports manga, I think whatever the author does next would be worth checking out. The author, I suppose I should drop them, is Kento Terasaka. Kento Terasaka did the art and story. But yeah. So it was good. I'm sad to see it go. There was a lot of stuff that got introduced, and it felt like the author was trying to set up a lot of things to expand the characters more, and like, you know, really open up for things to get paid off later. And right as I started doing that, that's when it seemed like Shonen Jump pulled the plug. Out of the manga that got canceled, however, it had the least rushed ending, in my opinion, which makes me think that this could have either just been luck, like they likely might have gotten the news like right at the end of the arc before the few chapters they had to wrap it up, or maybe they got it in this last quote-unquote arc, but it was just, you know, it was the last arc was pretty much just training, and then it just sort of wrapped up with like someday they're going to be really good and it's going to be great. You know, no real payoff to the characters, but it's about the best you can do with yeah. Anyway, I suppose I'll move on. So next up is almost forgot. I wanted to give them all a rating. So I would give Beast Children. Now these ones that got canceled, I feel like they're sort of hard to rate, because I do think that they all got canceled right as they were really starting to like dig into the meat of things. But I will give Beast Children a 7 out of 10. Personally, I was enjoying it, and I think there was a lot that could have happened. Maybe it could have gone past 100 chapters and still been really cool. I don't know. But yeah. Also, sorry to rag on sports manga. To be fair, I haven't really tried that many. So if you have a favorite sports manga that's not Haikyuu, feel free to suggest it, and I will maybe read it someday or not. No promises. Moving on. So I mentioned that this year I read the Shonen Jump Big 3, which are Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece. And if you remember, I said I was going alphabetically. So you can assume that I'm going into Bleach next. So if you somehow don't know about Bleach, Bleach is a manga that was about a high schooler, as many of them are, named Ichigo Kurosaki, who became a Soul Reaper, among many other things, but I suppose... See, I feel like I shouldn't have to worry about spoilers for Bleach, but I don't want to, just in case you decide to read it on your own and you haven't, and you somehow don't know anything about Bleach, because to be fair, I thought I knew a good bit about Bleach, and then I read it, and I realized there was a lot that I didn't know. Some good, some bad. But yeah, no, Bleach was good. My favorite arc was definitely the first one, personally. I felt like Ichigo running around, getting a hang of his Soul Reaper powers, slowly introducing new characters and concepts. It was good. It was fun. And, I think one thing I've never really heard anyone say about Bleach, is that Kubo has some really good characters, in my opinion. Like, they're just fun characters. They're very likable. And they're very distinct for the most part. I mean, there's plenty of like background characters that aren't that interesting, but like the main characters are all, they do their thing and they do it well. No, I guess that doing it well is debatable, but that's my opinion. I liked the characters. No character comes to mind that I was just like, oh yeah, this was a terrible character and wasn't executed properly, aside from some characters in the final arc. But yeah, much like the 4 manga that made me want to make this in the first place, Bleach did not finish on the author's terms. As far as I can tell, the ratings went down and Shonen Jump pulled it during the final arc, and it was the final arc in that as soon as the arc started, it was called the final chapter, and it was meant to be the final arc. And honestly, we were probably only like, if it had finished on Tite Kubo's terms, it probably only would have gone on for another year, so another like 50-ish chapters. So I find it really odd that they didn't let him finish it. Maybe they were worried that he was going to try to drag it out for as long as he could if they let him get by on the whole, it's the final arc thing. But yeah, they decided to can it. What was the final fight but was intended to be the penultimate fight got rushed at what felt like 2/3 of the way through the fight. It just kind of got wrapped up really fast. And then Kubo just sort of like tried to throw in the happy ending that he wanted the characters to have, but he only had like 1 chapter to do so, which sucks, but hey. Now, my least favorite arc was the final arc, and I think a part of that is definitely that it was rushed, and I also think that, I could be wrong, but personally the final arc felt like it was just Kubo trying to, he had a ton of ideas, and he was just trying to put them all into motion and, you know, put them out there, expand the story some more, wrap things up. And he also was very clearly trying to make it like definitive, like Ichigo is like the strongest, 100% without a doubt, guaranteed, no one can beat him. Because I said I wasn't going to go into spoilers, but fuck it, it's old. So Aizen, you know, if you've read it, he fought Aizen, he beat Aizen, but he didn't kill Aizen. So apparently the final fight was after Aizen was let out to help with Yuwak, or however you pronounce his name. Apparently after Ichigo, Aizen teamed up to beat Yuwak, Aizen and Ichigo were going to have one last fight, which is why I say that it was going to end on like a definitive, like, no, Ichigo is the best. Because during the Aizen fight, Ichigo had to use an ability where it was like he can use it once and then he loses his Soul Reaper powers. I'm assuming that it was trying to set it up so that Ichigo could beat Aizen this time around definitively without having to use anything like that. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the final arc, just in general. I felt like it wasn't bad, but there were a lot of points where I was kind of, my interest dipped. Now I know the Fullbringer arc, from what I hear, was rushed a bit, which I could kind of tell. Like there was a point, like when we got to during the final fight thing, like I kind of was thinking, like, I feel like this arc was supposed to be another like 30-40 chapters long, but whatever. There was a lot of cool stuff in that arc. I've heard people give a lot of shit to that arc, and just Fullbringers in general didn't really bother me. I thought the powers were interesting enough. I thought all the Fullbringers were interesting characters. Interesting enough anyway. Rancor arc was good, of course, and everyone knows the Soul Society arc. That's probably most people's favorite arc. Yeah. I don't know. It was good. I enjoyed it. I would give it a 6 out of 10, but I think if the Fullbringer arc and the was a 100-Year War arc, the final arc, hadn't been rushed, I think it could have been a 7 out of 10. But yeah, I don't know. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, I guess. Moving on, I'm pretty sure I started reading this manga when it came out, and I'm pretty sure it came out at the end of last year, but I'm going to put it in here anyway, because it's still relatively new. Chainsaw Man. Now, Chainsaw Man is about a boy who is like half demon, or he's not at first, but then he becomes like half demon or devil or whatever. And he, you know, his head and his arms turn into chainsaws. And it's a battle manga, so you can kind of assume, but it sets itself apart in a few ways. The one of which is the main character. He's definitely not your typical shonen protagonist. He's very selfish, and I would even argue that his motivations are not only selfish, but like primal even. Like he's pretty much, so it starts off where he's just kind of on his own, and then this organization shows up and is like, hey, you're gonna work for us or we'll kill you. And the chick that's like in charge of the group that comes to him, got a super hard crush on, and that's basically his biggest motivation is girl, pretty, me likey. And that's not even an exaggeration. I mean, there's a few chapters where his goal, well, there's one character named Power, who is a demon, and she's kind of like an anti-hero at first. She's kind of, I guess a lot of these characters are, if you really want to get into it, but she starts off as like against Dingy, the main character, but then you learn like she had, I don't know if I'd call them good reasons, but redeemable reasons. Like when you learn about it, you're like, oh, well, that sucks, I feel bad now. And then she joins. She's a good guy. She's my favorite character. Anyway, but at one point she convinces Dingy to help her with stuff, and his reward is like, she's just literally like, oh, I'll let you touch my boobs. And he goes from fuck you to okay, when do we start, as soon as she brings that up. And that's like, it's just, that's basically it. That's generally his motivation is girl, pretty, me likey. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. It's entertaining. And the author, some people won't like this. Some people will. So, but I like it. The author is really good at just when things start to get comfortable, there's a hard left turn and things just go nuts. So there's never really like a dull moment. And even when you think things are going in a more predictable direction, even if you manage to predict it on like a vague sense, there's still like a lot of details about it that'll happen that'll kind of throw you off. It's very weird. It's got a very like gritty art style. I like it a lot. I think it really works for the tone and stuff. But I could definitely see someone looking at it and finding it really unattractive. So again, that's your choice to make. But yeah, it's just really good. It's still ongoing. The current arc, they set us up, and I saw it coming, and I'm sure everyone did. And I'm sure the mangaka knew that we saw it coming, and that's exactly why. I'm not going to spoil it because this one's ongoing, but basically there was like a character shows up, and you're like, I know what's going to happen. I know what's coming. And it just drags it out, and it just felt like the author was just like rubbing in our face. It's like, yeah, you know what's going to happen, you little bitches. And then it happened, and I was just like, fuck, why'd you do this to me? Good shit. Read Chainsaw Man. It's 51 chapters. 50 in English. It's probably about 51, 52 if you look it up online in like a fan translation. But good, very good. Will say the first like 2 or 3 chapters were good, and then there's like a dip, but it comes back around about chapter 10 or 9 or 10. There was definitely, I remember there being a couple chapters where I started to worry that like it was gone. It had lost its steam. But no, it's good. I really like it. I hope it goes on for at least another 2 or 3 years, and I hope it gets an anime that does well, because I like the idea of this mangaka being supported. Oh yeah, I guess I'll drop the name of who made it. Let me find it. Chainsaw Man. they make it annoyingly hard on here to like see the author's name. Tatsuki Fujimoto is the mangaka that made Chainsaw Man. Yeah, Chainsaw Man, my opinion, 8 out of 10. Definitely worth a read. I hope it continues to be as enjoyable as it has been. Next on my list is another one of the manga that got canceled very recently, Double Taisei. Double Taisei is a shogi manga, so I guess you could call it a sports manga, with a fun little twist of the main character has 2 very distinct personalities, and they switch between them at day and night. So basically, they don't sleep. The day personality just lays down and goes to bed, and then like a few minutes later, the night personality wakes up. Now, the big twist, and I won't say how it happens, but the big twist that shakes up the story is like, so we have the day personality, and he's like a really good shogi player, and it's hinted that the night personality is also a really good shogi player, because they have this thing where like they play shogi together so when the day personality wakes up, they'll make their move, and then when the night personality wakes up, they'll make their move, and it goes back and forth, and they just have really drawn out games of shogi. So the big turnaround is that the night personality and the day personality end up getting swapped. So the day personality was essentially on the track of becoming a professional shogi player. So now the night personality becomes the main character. I think this is like 4 or 5, maybe less than that, but it's only a few chapters in, but it caught me off guard. I thought that the day personality was the protagonist, but it turns out the night personality is the main protagonist, which is fair, because I feel like the night personality has more to play off of in the long run. Sadly, it didn't get to run very long, but hey. But no, it was fun. Yeah, it was, I don't know, I liked it. Like, I'm not like a big sports fan or any of that type of stuff. But it was very enjoyable. I like the artwork. The characters are very fun. There was not a single character that got a prolonged amount of screen time that I did not thoroughly enjoy. If there's any character that I would have to call my least favorite, it is the character that is sort of set up as the quote-unquote main love interest at the very beginning. Though I think I'm not really sure where that was going to go, because there was a good stretch of like 10, 15 chapters where like she barely showed up. Yeah, she's probably the least interesting. Like, she had probably the blandest personality, in my opinion. Now, granted, she may have gotten a lot more interesting later, but, but yeah, anyway, it was very good. Only ran 27 chapters. Sad to see it go. Had a really weird rushed ending. I'm not going to spoil it, because, again, it's only 27 chapters. You could read this in, like, an afternoon easily. But it was really, this was the first one that I read the final chapter of out of the ones that ended. And it was the one that made me go, oh no, this one, it ended. That was really weird. Oh no. And then I realized the other ones were ending as well, and I got really upset. Basically, so it has basically, it just has a really weird ending that it was about the best they could have done, if, considering they had to end it then and there. But it was super weird, and it didn't feel like it was built up to at all, even though I'm pretty sure the author had at least 2 or 3 chapters notice that they were wrapping things up. But I can't blame them, because when, the jump comes in and is like, hey, you're done, it's like, what do you do? Because you either have to make up like some really rushed ending, or you just end it on like a major cliffhanger, like mid arc or whatever. But no, it was very enjoyable. Double Taisei was made by Kentaro Fukuda. And as with the others, well, the other 4 that got canceled, or the other 3 got canceled, sorry. Although I would probably read Tite Kubo's next thing as well. Anyway, nope, it was good. I wish it had kept going. I will give it a 7 out of 10. Same as Beast Children. So yeah. Next up, another one of the big 3. Spoilers, it's my least favorite. So if you like this one, sorry, you're probably not going to like what I have to say about it. Naruto by Kishimoto. I don't remember the full name. Let me pull it up while I'm thinking about it. God. Okay, I gotta scroll. Wait, no, I don't. Fuck. Whatever. Okay. Got it. Naruto. Oh, come on. They didn't. Okay, whatever. I think it's Musashi Kishimoto. I could be wrong. See. I'll keep looking. Anyway, yes, Masashi Kishimoto, not Musashi Kishimoto. Close enough. So Naruto, in case you haven't heard about that, which if you're watching this and you're speaking in your first language was English, you probably have, because I feel like Naruto was the most popular of the Shonen Jump 3 in the West. So Naruto is about ninjas, and the main character wants to be the best ninja, and he has a demon in him, the spirit of the nine-tailed fox, and everyone hates him because the nine-tailed fox was very bad. So yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna care about spoilers for Naruto. I don't know anyone that doesn't already know the story. So Naruto, not a fan. I'll come out and just say that now. I already kind of said that. Was not a fan. I always liked it as a kid, but I think that was more because everyone I knew liked it. Just it was really popular at the time. Of course. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like most of the characters. There were a lot of times where I was just bored out of my mind, and I know there's the whole thing of like, why'd you read it if you didn't like it? I just really wanted to read the big 3. I don't know. I just wanted to read all 3 of them, and I wanted to do it from beginning to end so I could say for sure, which one I liked best, or if I liked any of them at all. But yeah, I don't know. Didn't like Sasuke. I don't think that's a very controversial opinion, though. Didn't like Sakura. Naruto was okay. Kakashi was pretty good. He wasn't like outstanding by any means, but I don't think I would consider most of Kishimoto's characters to be. Rock Lee was fun. I liked him. Gaara started off as a little shit. He got better. I don't know. There weren't a lot of characters I liked. I thought Orochimaru was a really crap villain. at least in my opinion. Not that any of the others were better. Madara wasn't a very good villain. Everyone got mad about the fucking, what was her name? Kaguya. You know, Black Setsu coming in and being like, haha, it was all according to plan. Fuck off. He does that like 3 times too in the last arc. Well, assuming you don't give count Kaguya's thing as her own arc. Which I wouldn't, because it wasn't very long. The Kaguya fight wasn't pretty long. I considered like the final fight against Madara and the final fight against Kaguya the same arc. But I don't know how it's actually divided. Yeah, Kaguya sucked. Madara sucked. The one good thing about Madara is I appreciate that he was at least really well built up to. Because from the first time Sasuke and Naruto fight at the Final Valley or whatever it's called, and it has the Madara statue, and it's like, oh, this is some dude who's important enough to have a statue next to the first Hokage who we had seen before, so we would recognize who the hell is this guy. And then from there he slowly gets brought up more and more and more. So to be fair, as much as I'm not a big fan of Madara, when he shows up and he's like, sup, I'm Madara, and he kicks ass, you're like, cool, it's fucking Madara. Like, I don't know what else I expected at this point. I don't know. Obito wasn't a great villain, but he was probably the best. I don't know. Just didn't like. Honestly, my favorite arc was I think it was I don't remember the exact name. Tenshi Bridge arc or something. Maybe that's not even the right arc. I don't know. Naruto was long. The part where Naruto, Sakura, Sai, and then the guy with the wood jutsu that can seal the Naito Fox, or at least he can for a while. When they go to Orochimaru's hideout, and then Sasuke just kind of unceremoniously kills Orochimaru and breaks out. That was my favorite arc personally. A lot of people really like Zabuza and Haku. And they're fairly cool, but that arc in and of itself wasn't that good, in my opinion. I don't know. Zabuza has a couple cool moments. Haku's okay. Whatever. Chunin exams. Was not a fan of the Chunin exams. I honestly can't think of any part of the Chunin exams that like really got me. I think the best part of the Chunin exams was the first exam when they had to do the written test. I thought that was the best part of the Chunin exams. And honestly, because I remember thinking, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Like, I hope it keeps up. And then the forest was lame. I did not like any part of the Forest of Death or whatever it was called. And, the preliminaries and the final fights and stuff were not that interesting. Jiraiya was a pretty good character. I did like him. I was sad when he died. He probably had like the coolest. I would say he had the coolest and most impactful death, in my opinion, because his death was like a huge sacrifice. That reminds me, Pain. Pain was my favorite villain. Now that I think about it, Pain was my favorite villain. Pain was the most interesting antagonist in the series. And Nagato, I guess, is the real name. Nagato was the best antagonist. Nagato should have been the final antagonist, if you ask me. I mean, I felt like it would have worked. Like, I feel like, but at that point, Kishimoto had set himself up with so much shit that he had to pay off. I feel like it should have. I wish he had set it up to end it in Nagato, because I feel like that would have been a good, satisfying ending. But no, that didn't happen. So fuck it. Regardless. Yeah, I don't know. Most of it just wasn't that interesting. But hey, that's just my opinion. I think Naruto sucks, but you're free to like it. So yeah, Naruto by Masashi Kishimoto, 4 out of 10. That's my rating. I'm not going to talk too much more on it, because I would rather spend more time talking about the ones I did enjoy. And moving on to the final of the big three, my highest rated manga on this list, and my new favorite manga of all time, One Piece. Now, I'm sure some of you are like, what? You hated Naruto, but you're going to say One Piece is your favorite manga of all time? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. One Piece is fucking amazing. The first chapter, I sat down because my friend, again, Vividly ASMR, was like, hey, One Piece, it's good, read it. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to. I'm already caught up on Detective Conan, and that's long as shit. Do I need another long one? Just kidding. Fucking course I do. I'm the long form media man. I fucking thrive on that shit. It gives me a high to get to the end of some long ass piece of media and be like, that's right, I finished it. Fuck you. So One Piece. Ooh, that first chapter alone. I finished the first chapter and I already knew. I was like, I have never read a first chapter of a manga and that was so definitively like, I love this manga. I am so excited to keep going. I've never been so excited at the end of a first chapter before. It in my opinion, not only is this my favorite manga of all time, I am of the opinion that is the best first chapter of a manga ever written. Eiichiro Oda is a genius. He is a god. I love him. I would kiss him on the mouth, but he is a married man, so I must live without him. So One Piece is fucking good. One Piece, in case you don't know, you degenerate, you fool, you absolute buffoon, is about Monkey D. Luffy and his crew of pirates, and they are on the search for the One Piece, which is the treasure of Gold Roger. And it is the greatest pirate treasure in existence. And everyone fucking wants it. And everyone's after it. And they're fucking on the adventure to find that shit, and they're gonna find that shit one day, and it's gonna be so fucking good. I am deserves all 900 and whatever the fuck chapters it's got, and another 900 and whatever the fuck more. However long Oda wants it to go, it deserves it. Let the man continue forever. I don't care. Though he has said it's going to end in 5 years. Don't know how true that is. He's made claims like this before that were completely wrong. He originally only expected the manga to go for about 5 years. And here we are. It's been a long, long time. So it's fucking good. every single character, even the fucking useless background characters, which you could argue does not exist in One Piece, but we're going to say for the sake of this that they do. Every single fucking character is so goddamned good. So much love goes into every fucking pen stroke in this fucking manga. It is, this man is too good. We do not deserve him, but I am thankful every night that we did get him. Not a single character that I don't love, and any character I don't love, I love to hate. They're all so good. All so good. Monkey D. Luffy is my favorite character. And I would argue is possibly my favorite. He is at least in my top 5 of best characters out of anything ever. He is fucking good. I would argue he is objectively the best protagonist in anything Shonen Jump has ever made. It's good. It's fucking good. I love all the characters. They all are really fleshed out. It's fucking good. I don't know what I can say. I don't want to say anything about it because I just want you to go read it. I want you to sit down and I want you to read all 900 and something fucking chapters, and I want you to catch up, and I want you to love every second of it like I fucking did. God damn, there was not a chapter I never finished a chapter and thought, I can wait to go to the next one. No, every time I finished a chapter, I was like, I need to know what happens next. I have to continue. And now that I'm reading it weekly, I'm like, God damn, I can't believe I have to wait a fucking week to find out what happens next. The Wano arc, the current arc, when I'm recording this, so fucking good. I don't know how it's gonna top it. But he's gonna do it. It just keeps getting better and better. I don't know how he does it. Yeah. It's fucking amazing. Fuck. Goddamn. Favorite arc so far. I don't know what the official name of the arc is. But it was when they went to I don't want to say it. Big Mama's Islands. When they went there. That's my favorite arc so far personally. Waiting for Elbaf, because goddamn, seeing Usopp get to Elbaf and that having that payoff, I'm gonna come in my pants, and that is not an exaggeration. I will pre-ejaculate for the Elbaf arc. Okay, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. It's good. Read One Piece. It's good. It's good. Don't know about the anime. I'm gonna come out and say I don't know about the anime. I always assumed One Piece was bad because I saw the 4Kids dub as a kid and I was like, this fucking sucks. Read One Piece. Read it. It's good. It's great. 10 out of 10. 10 out of fucking 10, no hesitation. Best manga of all time. Good. Moving on. Now that I've made my point quite clear. To another manga that got canceled, sadly. Tokyo Shinobi Squad. Now, this manga actually came out, if I remember correctly, right around the time that I started. I think it was technically right before, but it was right around the time I See, when did it come out? June? No, yeah, this would have been about the time, maybe even after I started reading Naruto, which is relevant because, you know, Tokyo Shinobi Squad ninja shit. So Tokyo Shinobi Squad is a cyberpunk ninja thing. The story is by Yuki Tanaka and the art is by Kento Matsuura. And it is pretty cool, I thought, at least. It's a battle manga, of course, but I feel like the characters were interesting enough to that when it came down to it and the fights happened, you know, you really wanted to root for the characters. Now, this one probably had it wasn't the best ending out of these. No, I would still put Beast Children. Beast Children wrapped up a little. Beast Children wrapped up the nicest, but this one wrapped up pretty well. Though it still definitely had that feeling of like, oh, there was a lot of shit that was just starting to get set up, and there it goes out the window. I would like to see. I don't know if these two are going to work together directly again, or if they'll both work on separate things. But the art was good. So I would be curious to read something illustrated by Kento Matsuura again. Excuse me. Get some more water. You guys love it when I swallow. All right. Anyway, I would read something illustrated by Kento Matsuura again, and I would also be happy to read something where the story was done by Yuki Tanaka. So yeah, hopefully they get back into the game soon. Anyway, so the interesting thing about and this is the thing I think it has above Naruto and some of the stuff, is that abilities are a lot more unique. Everyone has like their own shtick, which to me personally, I prefer that in battle manga. I like everyone to have their own sort of thing going, because if everyone's abilities are too similar, you know, it can kind of run together, be a little less interesting. Because like a lot of battle manga, like everyone has like they come from the same pool, and then everyone has like that one move that's unique to them, and that's it. But like with you know Tokyo Shinobi Squad and some of the stuff, it's like everyone has like their own unique like pool of moves, like entirely just for themselves. But no, Tokyo Shinobi Squad was pretty good. I was enjoying it. Sad to see it go, though. I will be honest, I did not expect it to get more than like 115, 120 chapters. It was setting up some big stuff, but I felt like it easily could have been stuff that got resolved in 40, 50 chapters. It only got 27. It didn't have a lot of longevity, and that could have been part of why it got canned. But it was more, the main reason was probably just that it wasn't doing particularly well. But hey, you know, it was enjoyable. And again, I would like to see more from these two, whether they're together or separate. Hopefully together again, that'd be kind of nice. I feel like their art and story went together well. But yeah, so I would give Tokyo Shinobi Squad a 6 out of 10. Mainly because mainly because I felt like it didn't really know where it wanted to go exactly beyond, like, you know, they only ever had the next arc planned out, like, and even then, like, it wasn't a particularly, the overarching story wasn't particularly interesting, but the characters themselves were pretty fun, and that's what kept it going, I think, for me. So I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 because while the characters were really good, the overarching story was very simple and didn't really have a lot going for it. Now, granted, maybe they had a lot of ideas that I missed. Maybe there was some stuff I missed. Maybe there was just a lot of stuff that they were wanting to drop in slowly that never got fleshed out. I don't know, but I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, but I would like to see more from them. And finally on my list is Yui Kamio Let's Loose, which is probably the most interesting out of these. It is by Hiroshi Shibashi. Hiroshi Shibashi. And it is... So the premise is that Yui Kamio, again, has two personalities, similar to Double Taisei. So Yui has a very crazy, rambunctious personality. And she has a very, like, kind, sweet personality. So she has this chain that she wears in her hair. And when she's wearing the chain, she is, her hair is white, and she is the kind, good Yui. And when she's not wearing the chain, her hair is black, and she's like a fucking delinquent and all that shit. So the interesting thing about this is that it started off like, well, first of all, Yui Kamio is not the main character, which is interested me because it feels so clearly about her. The main character is a guy named Kito, who is like a rich boy at the school where a lot of this shit takes place. And he basically starts off as this cold and caring, kind of distant asshole, and he meets Yui, and then he joins in with her, and then shenanigans happen, and he becomes likable. So Yui Kamio is interesting because it started off as essentially a battle manga where Yui, basically other high school delinquent girls, would show up and they would try to fight Yui because Yui in black has pissed a lot of people off in the past. And they would come back and there would be a bunch of shenanigans that would usually end up leading to Yui in black getting released. But then about 20 to 25 chapters in, probably less than that actually, I think it was only about 32 chapters, 36. I'd say about 15 to 20 chapters in. It took a supernatural turn, like hard left into supernatural, and it was still a battle manga, sort of. But Yui was doing less of the fighting, and Kito did more of the fighting. And because he's not strong, he's some rich sissy boy. Personally, I thought it got a lot more interesting. I wasn't really a big fan of this up until that twist. I was just kind of keeping up with it because I did think the characters were fairly fun. But when it took a really heavy, when the focus was like completely on Kito and he was like the one that was having to solve all the problems, it got a lot more interesting because he couldn't just kick and punch his way out. He had to be a lot more creative. Yeah, I don't know. It got a lot more interesting. Sadly, of course, it's one of the ones that, got canned. And its ending, I'm not gonna say it's the worst. I think Double Taisei's was the worst. Nope, you know what? I'm gonna say Yui Kamio's was the worst. It was so bad. Again, because it was, it was canned. It wasn't, the author didn't really have much choice. But it was so bad that I didn't realize that it was ending until the last page. Well, not the last page. The last, 5 or 6 pages. But, basically, I didn't realize that they were setting up the ending until we got the quote-unquote, epilogue part of the final chapter. And we were, smack dab in the middle of, some major shit, and suddenly... Oh, nope. It's over. Which really sucked, but, yeah, what can you do? Got canceled. Sad. I feel like it could have been really interesting. This one probably surprised me the most because I was so sure that this was going to be 250 chapters with 2 or 3 seasons of anime. I was so sure this one was going to take off. Had a lot going for it. I mean, I thought all the characters were interesting. I don't know. The supernatural element was fun. But hey, whatever, shit happens, I guess. That's just how it be. But no, this one was really good. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. Just because the start was so rocky. I think if it had a better start, it could have been 8 out of 10. I think if they'd introduced because technically you could argue that it was supernatural from the beginning because the chain is a monk's. It was blessed by monks or whatever to maintain her delinquent side, but it felt like that was just sort of some random idea that was thrown in just for the sake of explaining why she has 2 personalities. And that wasn't really the focus. It was more about, she has the 2 personalities and it's wacky hijinks, trying to balance the 2 of them in a high school setting. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. It was good. 7 out of 10. Would like to see more by this author as well. But hey, that's showbiz, I guess. Only so many manga can make it. It's not like we fucking have 14 battle manga going, most of which are just super generic and lame. And the new manga that are coming in to replace these ones that just got canceled don't seem interesting. And I want to talk about one in particular called A Gravity Boys, which is apparently a gag manga. At least that's what they're marketing it as. So basically, there's only 1 chapter out, so there's not much of it. But basically, the premise is that there's these 4 boys. They were sent out into space, and pretty much right after they got sent out to space, the world ended. I think it was nuclear warfare or something. And then they got sucked into a black hole and landed on some crazy planet. And then suddenly, they're well, we're fucked because we're all dudes, so humanity's dead. Some weird alien, 5th dimensional being shows up. And it's hey, here's this elixir. If one of you 4 drinks this, you'll turn into a girl and humankind can continue. So of course, there's 4 boys and they're all different masculinity. So you have the trap bait. I know a lot of people don't want to use that word, but I feel like that's the best way to put it. Femboy, we'll go with that. So you have the femboy, you look at them and you're that's a girl, and it's nope, it's a guy. And you're okay, Japan, Like, I don't even dislike femboys, you know. I even was like, that's a cute boy. I like that boy. It's a cute boy. I like that boy. But it was very, as soon as that whole thing was established, it was very clear. Like, I feel like that character was conceptualized specifically. So when it's like, hey, one of you drink this and become a girl, it was like, well, this is the obvious choice. You also have glasses boy, smart boy. You have big muscular man, and you have generic protagonist. None of these characters are particularly interesting and don't seem to have much depth to them. Granted, it is the first chapter, but I didn't like it very much. Which is why I'm ranting about it now, because I'm mad that this is replacing some stuff that I thought was way better. Anyway, so they start fighting about it, who's going to drink it, and then the three dudes all start trying to convince the femboy to drink it, because they're like, well, he's already feminine enough. Like, if one of us has to be a girl, let's make it him. They straight up try to groom him, and like they start treating him like, I don't know, they basically try to groom him and convince him that he should absolutely be the girl. Like they start getting like real flirty with him and stuff, and in an attempt to like make him think, well, oh, maybe I should be the one that turns into a girl and gets fucked by these other three. And basically they argue about it, and it basically ends, it literally ends with them throwing the elixir away into the distance, presumably to be found by someone else, I'm assuming, later on. And then the three dudes all admit that because femboy is the most feminine person around, even though he's not a girl, they're still kind of like, oh, but I don't know, man, like that's as close as we're gonna get. I'm because it's Japan, I assume the joke is like, haha, gay is funny, which is kind of my problem with this whole thing. Like, I'm not the type of person, it's like, you can never make fun of LGBT ever. But I feel like the whole premise, so far at least, is haha, gay. Which is a really lame premise and concept for a manga. Now, granted, I'm not really a fan of gag manga in general. But this one seems especially weak to me, and it baffles me that they ended 4 manga and then they let this one slip through and get published. But hey, what do I know? So anyway, that is my manga review of 2019. Let me know if you agree or disagree. If you disagree, I don't really care, honestly. I'm gonna be honest, because I'm pretty set in my opinions. You know, I've done a bit of thinking about how I feel about all these. So yeah, I will do something like this next year. Let me know if you want it to stay just manga or if you want to expand it. Now, granted, it's not going to expand much. It's just going to be like, here's a couple of books I've read, and maybe like a show or two. I don't really watch TV or movies ever. It's pretty much all going to be reading. Like, all the media I take in is manga, the novels I'm trying to get into reading, music, and YouTube videos, and the like. So it wouldn't expand a whole lot. So it may just stay manga, regardless of, you know, what you guys suggest, if I'm being completely honest, because there's not a whole lot else that I'm really deep into. And maybe if I do expand it, maybe I'll just do like, you know, I'll do a video every week in December next year, and each one will be dedicated to a different thing. I don't know. I'm not gonna set anything in stone. That's a year away. But yeah, hope you guys like this. Let me know your opinions. Let me know if you'd like to see this again next year. And you know, if if I didn't mention in your favorite manga that you started reading this year, mention it below. Maybe I've never heard of it. Maybe I'll like it too. I don't know. That's about all I have. So anyway, I hope you're having a good day or good night or whatever it is for you. And I will see you in the next video. 1 second, I almost forgot. I'm going to use this as a chance to formally, in a video at least, like through my voice, be like, hey, I have a Discord. Should have done this at the beginning probably, because the whole point of this video is to put you to sleep, so you may be asleep by now. But if you're not asleep by now, I have a Discord, links in the description. Come say hi. It's kind of small, but I feel like that's kind of a bonus, because it's kind of one of those Discords where you're in it, not a lot happens, but like when it does happen, it kind of blows up for like 30 minutes, 20-30 minutes maybe, and then it calms back down again, and then it's basically silent. I feel like there's some fun to that, because then it's like, it's not the kind of Discord where you have to keep up with it, and there's a lot going on and shit like that. It's real chill. It'll probably grow or not, I don't know. But yeah, hey, if you like me and you want to talk to me, that's the way to do it, I guess. So hopefully I'll see you there. So yeah, I'll say it again, because it's my outro thingy. Hope you're having a good day, good night, or whatever it is for you, and I will see you in the next video, or maybe in the Discord. Mwah.